We have major escalation in this Middle East conflict between the United States, Israel, and Iran. So earlier today, there was a strike on the South Pars petrochemical facilities, which is a natural gas refinery for Iran and provides 3/4 of their natural gas needs. So this is basically an attack on the energy security for the whole country of Iran. I'm just going to play a few seconds of the image from the there were attacks on 2 different locations. So you can see here the fire at one of the locations. So I'll just stop it there. Basically, you don't need to see all that. You know that this is a major attack. This is a major escalation. So what was Iran going to do? Well, anyway, a little bit more about the South Pars gas field. It is the world's largest natural gas deposit, and it is shared with Qatar. So gas tanks and sections of a refinery sustained damage at 2 different locations. This strike was carried out by Israel but approved by the United States. So you really don't have to distinguish too much at this point who is doing the attacking. It is all really being controlled by a central command from the United States and coordinated with Israeli their defense forces. So anyway, this is an attack of the United States on Iran's energy security. If you want to be technical about it, you can say, okay, Israel carried out the airstrike, but this is the United States trying to deflect any blame away from itself. But the United States is directing this war, and so this was a direct attack on Iran's energy security. And in response, we did have a message from the Qatari spokesperson for the Qatari foreign minister. I'll show that to you in a second. And the evacuation notice was given by Iran to Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and UAE. So you have evacuation notices for the Samref refinery, Jubail petrochemical complex, the UAE Al Hosn gas field, Qatar's Mesaid petrochemical complex, the Mesaid holding company, and the Ras Laffan, which I think also is Qatar, Ras Laffan refinery. So first, let's take a look at the message from Dr. Majed Al Ansari, and he states the following: the Israeli targeting, of course, he doesn't recognize the principal belligerent in this conflict is the United States. He says the Israeli targeting of facilities linked to Iran's South Pars field, an extension of Qatar's North Field, is a dangerous and irresponsible step amid the current military escalation in the region. Targeting energy infrastructure constitutes a threat to global energy security as well as the peoples of the region and its environment. Okay, so far so good, I guess. Then we get to this paragraph. We reiterate, as we have repeatedly emphasized, the necessity of avoiding the targeting of vital facilities. Now we get into this language which seems directed towards Iran. We call on all parties. Iran, we're talking to you, because the attack came from the United States and its ally Israel, but they're directing the call towards Iran to exercise restraint. So basically, we know that they hit the South Pars field, which is a key element of your energy security, but it's no big deal. Just live with it, get over it, find another solution, no big deal. Don't look our way. We didn't have anything to do with it, even though we are completely allied and tied in economically, politically, militarily with the attackers. So adhere to international law. Here he's referring to the UN declaration by the Security Council denouncing Iran for responding to attacks on its country, on its leadership, on its children, and work towards de-escalation in a manner that preserves the security and stability of the region. What is Iran supposed to do to de-escalate? If it de-escalates, it's going to get destroyed. So the only thing that Iran can do is reply. Of course, the United States and Israel could de-escalate, but he could, if he was going to send that message to President Trump, he could say, President Trump, Netanyahu, stop. But he doesn't. So we know that this is a message directed towards Iran. And so you can see how much this government of Qatar is tied in with this whole security apparatus, political apparatus, economic apparatus of the Middle East, which has been run by the United States. So, they don't really have any other card to play than just, say, oh, don't escalate. We didn't do it. It's not our fault. So, anyway, because the Strait of Hormuz is closed, and here we have the Strait of Hormuz. So you see, there isn't much getting through right now, not much at all. And in fact, there are some ships that are waiting to get through, but much fewer than before. I mean, there used to be large chunks of red and green waiting to get through. Now people have said, you know what, we're not wasting our shipping, insurance, and boats in some foolhardy adventure. But what we have is a whole bunch of ships still trapped, and they're all waiting to depart. And they know, this is like the run of the wildebeest through the river crocodiles. So you can say, well, the one ship needs to go first and sacrifice itself, and then all of the other ships will be okay and they'll be able to get through. But it's not necessarily that way. People don't know how many drones there are waiting to strike ships, and these ships don't move very fast. So it's not like, they can plow through and in an instant. And of course, if Iran does see a rush to try to all bust through this at the same time, then they could mine this area. Then when all these ships are close to this area, they would be easy pickings once they put themselves there and they show they're trying to bust through. So anyway, getting back to this point, so to find another route for this oil, they're going to use the east-west pipeline that Saudi Arabia has to bypass the Strait of Hormuz. So we're talking about possibly 7 million barrels a day. I believe that about 20 million barrels a day was flowing through the Strait of Hormuz. So it's not a one-to-one replacement, but for the UAE and for Saudi Arabia, it looks like their only way to get their oil out to the market. So here we have this is the area. Okay, where are we here? Okay, so this is the Mesaid facility here. So you can see all the storage areas, and all the tanks, and then they have a loading dock, so there should be some pipes here. We got lots of pipes, and then I think what would be, how many ships could load up here a day. Anyway, so we have, this is one of the facilities that was targeted. But the strange thing is that Qatar, it basically has stopped all processing. They only have gas that's stored, and they're shutting down their facility. So why target this? Well, this is sending a message to Europe, because much of the natural gas, or a good part of the natural gas that Europe is depending on, it comes from this country and from these facilities. So this sends a message to Europe that either you're with us or against us, and many of the European countries have decided not to enter into this conflict, but at the same time they're staying quite silent, especially the UK, France, Germany, about this conflict. So this would affect the energy security of Europe. Now we have the Ras Laffan. This is also Qatar. Yes, this is Qatar. So this would be another, you can see all the different loading docks, and for the energy that would be exported from here. So again, this attack on the Qatar facility would be a direct message to Europe. Now regarding the Jubaid. Okay, where are we at here? So anyway, we got to go up here. Al Jubail. Okay, so we have the Al Jubail petrochemical company. This is one of the companies that's in the list. So here we have this company, and it is related to, okay, so it's north of Bahrain, and then this refinery pumps the energy down through this pipeline, and so it comes through this pipeline over here to this cake facility, where it is then moved in a pipeline to the west coast. This is where the 7 million goes. So I guess the UAE must have also pipes leading up to this point. So here's the west coast, and here is the Saudi Arabia loading facility for oil. So the SAMREF. So we have facility 1, we have, sorry about that, we have facility 2, and so these are the two facilities. These are under threat from Iran, and so this caused oil prices to rise. Right now, it was up closer to $100. Now it's come off. Of course, there's more announcements coming out of the Trump administration trying to stop any worries or fears about $200 a barrel oil. Brent was over 108. Now it's over 107. But what we do have now is the inflationary pressures, and that will come in as energy prices continue to rise. Vice President Vance was out telling everyone that we're rebuilding the American dream. And of course, you can see here, hard to see, but you can see that there's a lot of white heads, a lot of retirees. These are the boomers, the people that blindly believe in the mega message and think that we're still working towards improving things in this country as we're bombing Iran and creating a whole situation in the world which is pushing us in the opposite direction, making the American dream farther and farther away for the you know for middle America. And someone is reminding J.D. Vance. Okay, so see if I can figure out exactly where in the message we need to start. But J.D. Vance was talking about gas prices is high under Biden and low under President Trump, and and so things are just going to get better and better and better. Well, anyway, we know that the price of the pump is just continue to rise, and so these were fateful words for J.D. Vance. Unfortunately, here we go. So I'm not too sure why it's on mute.
Up for energy dominance. And one of the lessons we all have to take away, frankly, every time we get involved in anything overseas, whether it's in the Middle East or anywhere else, the thing we got to take away from it is energy dominance and energy independence. Rely on our own people, rely on our own energy.
So there we go, J.D. Vance talking about gas prices. It's better now than under Biden. And what we're working on is energy dominance, and that's going to improve things for everybody. It doesn't matter if it's energy dominance, because the gas prices and the oil prices are part of a free market. So those prices will go up and come down depending on a number of factors, and it really has nothing to do whether you have energy dominance or not. And so now that gas prices are continuing to rise across the United States, we have President Trump going again into panic mode. Here's from the Wall Street Journal. Trump calls on Fed to cut interest rates right now. So not at the next meeting, not in a meeting or two. He needs to cut it right now. Why? Because inflation is starting to come in, and this is going to slow down inflation. Okay, no, when inflation comes in, usually interest rates go up to try to slow down the economy, to stop the inflation. So how high is Jerome Powell going to have to raise interest rates to put the brakes on inflation? Because inflation is very hard to control once it gets out of control. So President Trump basically calling on Jerome Powell to cut the interest rates. But I think if Jerome Powell is going to do anything soon, it will be to raise interest rates. And that would be a huge blow to the whole the dreams of the mega dreams of having this perfect world. So this paradise begins to disappear, and we begin to see reality in the face and realize that we're in some serious problems here. So anyway, so we're now in phase 2 of this escalation, and it's going to be escalation, inflation, and finally boots on the ground. President Trump only knows one gear, and that is, high speeds, and he doesn't know where the brake pedal is. So now that the road is starting to get curvy, and we're starting to see boulders in the road, the possibility of our little car crashing or going off the side of the cliff is starting to get higher and higher. So we are now into phase 2, and President Trump's going to try to finish this phase 2 as quickly as possible. And many are saying, send the troops in, get the nuclear material, remove it, and then call it a day. Well, the nuclear material can be in a lot of forms. It can be in a gas, it can be in a solid. Is it in one location? Is it in 50 locations? Is it in 100 locations? How are you even gonna? Is it gonna be below ground? Is it gonna be above ground? Is it gonna be in a cave? You know, where is that nuclear material? He doesn't know where the material is, and he's gonna send boots on the ground to try to look for it. As like when they tried to find weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, and they kept looking here and looking there and looking everywhere. So, but of course, if you have boots on the ground and you have 90 million angry people at you, how are these soldiers going to move around and try to go through, go open every door into every cave, into every facility, and try to look for that? Because they don't even know what they're looking for. They don't know where to look. And Iran is as the size of Western Europe. It's many times the size of Iraq. And so this would be a fool's errand, and it would be, lots of caskets coming back, dead soldiers coming back who went on a fool's errand, kind of like when they send soldiers into Mexico looking for Pancho Villa. So I don't see anything good coming out of this phase 2. It's just going to be more extreme escalation. The Gulf Coast, the Gulf countries are going to be hit hard, and their economies could collapse. And for all those people who retired to these countries thinking that this was a paradise, now it could become a nightmare, and their investments could go down the drain. Now American banks will be targeted, so they need to go out to a bank to get money to buy groceries or whatever. How are they going to get close to the bank? I guess there might be an ATM somewhere in the street. But, this is not a good situation. If you're sitting right now, you're retired, you don't have any way of getting out of Qatar or UAE or Saudi Arabia. So this is a really bad situation. And I think it's going to get better anytime soon. So in this escalation, we should see oil prices rise. Inflation could skyrocket back to the levels of Biden, over 9. We could see, $6 to $9 a gallon gasoline at the pump. This will kill a lot of businesses. This will raise prices, and this inflationary circle will begin to move. And so I don't see anything positive coming out of this phase, and this could be the end of Trump's presidency if he stays in this phase 2 for very long, because this is only going to lead to more negative consequences. So anyway, I'll leave it at there. Thank you for joining me today for my video. And if you like this video here at the Rowell Report, please hit the like button, share, and subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you back for the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.